Welcome. I'm Emily Johnson, and I've been teaching at 2-year and 4-year colleges for a very long time. And I have taught 4 semesters online, and I've also been an online student. So today I'd like to give you some advice for taking online courses, especially if you haven't taken one before, or if the online courses you took were high school, not college courses. Maybe this can be useful for you. I only have 5 points. The first one is to know your learning needs. If you have a really hard time paying attention when somebody is lecturing, it's going to be hard for you to take an online class that includes a lot of videos of lectures. You may not have a choice, but you may need to do things to compensate for that difficulty that you have. You may need to watch some of the videos more than once. Maybe you need to force yourself to take notes during those video lectures. You may have some idea whether you're a visual learner, an auditory learner, a kinesthetic learner. The idea of learning styles, whether they are real, it kind of goes in and out of fashion in education. Sometimes people are like, oh, the research shows this is real. 5 years later, no, nobody has a learning style. They're all the same. Okay, whatever. I don't even care what the research says, because using different forms of learning can benefit everybody. So you probably know if somebody says something, it goes in one ear and out the other, that you're not good at learning by listening, that if you listen to a textbook as an audio file, you're not going to remember anything. If you know that, then you need to compensate for that. Maybe don't listen to your textbook that way. Maybe read it on the screen or read it in a physical book form. If you can only get it in an audible form, then maybe you need to take notes. Taking physical notes, old-fashioned pen and paper, that helps some people remember. You may have been required to write all your spelling words 10 times each when you were in elementary school. Even if you don't want to admit it, did that really help you remember? If it does, then maybe you'll benefit from taking physical notes by hand. Some students benefit more from taking notes with a pen than with a laptop, because somehow it just forces them to focus more, go a little bit slower. You need to find out what works for you. Taking notes, using flashcards, and reading stuff out loud, whatever works for you, you need to know yourself and know what works best and adapt the course to your learning needs. So you need to know yourself. There's no way the professor can know that about every student. And if there are things about an online class that are hard for you, like motivating yourself, being a self-starter, getting things done on time with nobody to remind you, if those things are hard for you, then you need to figure out a way to compensate for that difficulty. If you have to set 6 reminders on your phone to get to class on time, then do what you got to do, figure it out. So that means that for an online class, my second point is be realistic about distractions. You know yourself, you know your lifestyle, your family, you know the situation. A lot of people think that they study really well with other people, that they all get together at a big table and they eat snacks and they chat and they help each other and they think they're studying. Be honest with yourself. Do you get as much out of that situation as if you were by yourself in a quiet place studying alone? Some people get almost as much out of the group studying. Some people get almost nothing out of it. Do you need a quiet room with no visual distractions? Some people are distracted and stressed by stuff like a messy desk or even quiet background music while they're studying. Because it's an online class, you're going to have to do a lot of studying on your own. You need to figure out what works for you. Maybe you like listening to music while you study, but maybe it distracts you. You have to figure it out. And if your home situation is going to have a lot of distractions, what can you do to minimize those? Give your dog a chew toy, shut the door. I know people who have taken their online classes where they had to Zoom for a discussion sitting in a closet or sitting in their car because their home environment was so distracting. That is not ideal, but if the distractions are an issue, you need to find a workaround. My third point is you need to be self-starting. You need to be motivated to take this class. It can be really hard to make yourself do the assignments when you don't ever have to see the professor face to face and say, I have nothing to hand in because I didn't do it. You need to motivate yourself, even if it's a class that you don't care about and that you hate, but you need for your degree. Do what you need to do to motivate yourself. If that means you put a picture of yourself in a nursing uniform and stick it right above your laptop screen to remind yourself why you're taking this stupid pre-calc class, you're going to have to remind yourself to get the assignments done. You're going to have to make sure that you study enough for the test. You are going to have to take responsibility to be self-motivating. It's really hard for a professor to motivate you in a face-to-face class, and it's almost impossible for the professor to provide external motivation in an online class. You're going to have to do that for yourself. Then, of course, kind of related to that distraction issue is pay attention. This is my fourth point. Maybe you really can pay attention and doodle at the same time. Maybe you really can truly pay attention to that class and eat potato chips. Please with your microphone off, always with your microphone off. Maybe you can even, I had a student, I could see him, he was coloring in a coloring book during my class. I figured it was his loss if he was paying good money and wasting time and not learning anything. His grades kind of reflected that it was his loss. Just saying. Nothing wrong with coloring, but if it means you're not paying attention to the class, not participating in discussion, not getting the most out of lectures, not really benefiting from activities, then why are you even here? It may be really tempting to go play solitaire while you're supposed to be paying attention to your online class. But are you really going to get as much out of it if you're not completely paying attention? Maybe you need some caffeine. Maybe you need to get up and pace around. Maybe you need to exercise before the class so you're alert and awake. But that's on you. You have to pay attention. And if you choose to waste your time by not paying attention, why are you even here? Why are you spending this money? Why are you doing this? And then my fifth point is, if you have trouble with a class, please seek help. Reach out to the instructor, reach out to the TA. Even if you're at an online school, there may be free tutoring available. There may be groups of students who study together. It's not shameful to ask for help. It is part of your responsibility as a learner. If you're having trouble, ask for help. There may be in the syllabus, which you should all totally read, there may be in the syllabus, there may be information about, does the professor have office hours? How do they prefer to be contacted? Did they want an email? Do they want an instant message through the course website? Do they only want you to email them during certain times? Do they suggest that you contact a tutoring service that the school provides? It's probably there in the syllabus, but ask for help. Even if you're struggling, very few professors are going to say, I see that you did poorly on the first quiz. Might I suggest that you come to my office hours and we'll go over some of those problems? And that's not really their job. It's your job to say, I'm struggling and I need help. If you're worried about asking the professor for help, think first about what you did before you asked for help. Did you read the entire reading assignment? Did you maybe read it more than once without too many distractions? Did you try all of the exercises? Did you attempt them more than once? So maybe something that doesn't click today, after a good night's sleep, it'll make more sense tomorrow. Of course, that means you can't wait till the very last minute to do the assignment, which ideally you would not wait till the last minute, but you're juggling jobs and 4 or 5 other classes and childcare and life. I know it's hard. But if you've done everything the professor told you to do in terms of reading and activities, and you've studied and you've taken notes and you've really paid attention and not just, played video games on another window on your computer during class, then it's perfectly reasonable to ask for help. So ask for help if you need it. So my 5 points are: for an online course, you need to know your learning needs, how quiet you need it to be, how much distraction you can handle. Be realistic about those distractions and find ways around them, cope with them. Be self-starting and self-motivating. Pay attention. I know it's hard. And actively seek help. If you have questions, ask for help. And I think if you can do all 5 of these things, you will get as much out of an online course as you would a face-to-face course. And occasionally there are benefits. You can take classes that aren't offered close to you. Some of my students who are very shy would rather ask questions by, depending on the setup of the class, by messaging me in the course software than by asking in front of a whole classroom of students. Some students, it depends on the professor, they'll record the video so you can watch it again and again. If you really maximize your opportunities with an online class, they can be very good. You can learn just as much. If you sit there and you don't pay attention, you're not going to learn as much. It's your responsibility. It's your choice. You have control over your learning, very much so in an online course. So good luck with your course. I hope you learn a lot. I hope you enjoy it. And